Hey everyone, this is the SAP Consultant, Ahmed Al-Muwallad. I'm super excited today to share with you day number 14 of our current SAP Consultant batch, or we call it the Bootcamp. And today, what you're gonna see that they're going through a topic which is called product costing. They're gonna see the entire product costing from the beginning till the end in one day. And the way that we usually work, we work in project perspective. So they're gonna see it and they're gonna practice it and they're gonna actually submit a project on it the next day in 24 hours. So I'm super excited to share this with you, and I hope that you can see some value of it. For those who are interested to be SAP consultants, so join us. If you're really interested, you can just there is a form below where you can actually join it, and you click on it, put your information. We can actually get you in where you can see one of our live sessions. You could attend one of our live sessions, or you can attend one of our client sessions where we talk to the client, or we get some more information, or you attend one of the interviews, because the entire bootcamp that we came up with helps those who are interested to become SAP consultants from very scratch. So you're going to learn everything that you need to learn to be an SAP consultant. So that's the entire program, and currently we are actually in day number 14 in the boot camp, and I'm super excited because the amount of information that the students have learned is unbelievable. So anyways, I'll let you guys enjoy. Just watch the product costing, where we're going to go through the entire product costing from the beginning, and if you have some exposure to SAP, probably this will make sense for you. But if you're absolutely zero, so this is day number 14, so there's 14 other sessions before that, and I'm super excited, and I look forward to kind of hear from you and to see you in one of our live sessions, to come and attend and to get a test drive, see what we're doing in action. And I wish you all the best. Once again, enjoy the session, and I hope to see you again. This is the SAP Consultant, Ahmed Al-Muwallad. Thank you.
All right, guys, so we're going to be doing today product costing. Product costing is a very important topic. Very, very important topic. As a matter of fact, it's one of the core components for those who really want to specialize in something. And I would say product costing is the real money, real money deal.
Because it's difficult, and
not so many people know it. Not so many people know it, and they consider it difficult. Not so many people know it, and not so many company needs it, because mostly all the manufacturing company. I want to say not so many. I would say all manufacturing companies. All manufacturing company needs it. Oh, thanks a lot, Omar. Appreciate it. So product costing, technically, what product costing is, it is a way to determine the cost of manufacturing the product. If you manufacture a product and you want to know how much it's going to cost you, that's what product costing is. Okay, estimating the cost of the manufactured product. Manufactured product. For example, if you're making cars, you want to see how much this car costs you. If you're making an airplane, you want to see how much this airplane costs you. If you're making laptops, you want to see how much this laptop costs you. And usually the cost is three things. I want to keep it simple, keep it straight, keep it crisp. Three things. The cost is composed of three things. Cost of the raw materials. The cost of, what else? Anybody knows? Activities. When I say activities, for example, you have a car. How do you make that car? Assembling, cutting, machining, setup. This is called activities. And finally, the cost of the overhead. Any overhead. For example, washing the cars, shipping the car from one place to another, shipping the parts to the manufacturing place, locations, logistics. Any overhead that goes over the product cost. That's it. That's the entire story. That's the entire story. The entire story is in three things. Okay. In SAP, we have different stuff goes with it, and I'm gonna just like demystify this. Okay. I'm gonna go here to Visio. Let me just start to give Visio, so because I like to do some drawing, and I really hope you kind of connect the dots. So it's all about connecting the dots. Okay. Let's say, for instance, I don't want the errors. Let's say, for instance, this is our goal, to make a car. Let me make this one bigger.
You're not sharing, Ahmed.
I'm not sharing? Oh,
You are,
No.
you are,
You're sharing. I can see it.
you are.
oh, Monica,
What?
probably you didn't see it from your side. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's kind of
Probably using to
very
monitor.
yeah, the two monitors are driving me crazy.
You see now?
Yep,
Okay,
it's all
cool.
clear. Sorry about that.
No, no worries, no worries. So let's say now we want to make a car. This is our goal. And we said our car is actually composed of raw materials, and raw materials cost for sure. And we said activity cost. I don't want to write the word cost because this is too long. And finally, we have overhead costs. Okay. So this eventually is going to give us whatever is the cost here. In SAP, raw materials, what does that mean? How is it represented?
Material.
Material master, exactly. Material master. Okay. In SAP, those is composed of material master. So let's say here, I'll just go here, right there. I'll have all the materials. Say here's all the materials. Done, done, done. As many materials as you want. Oops. Let's say, okay, here's the car that I'm trying to manufacture. This is the car. We call it finished goods. So it has to be created in the system. Otherwise, I want to be able to actually kind of get it. Here's the car, the finished goods. And here, let's say I want to get some, let's say engine, okay? The car is made up of engine. For sure, we have an engine. This is raw materials. I'll say RM, raw materials, finished raw material one, engine. And we have maybe, for example, tires. This is a raw material too. And let's get something else. What else we get in the car?
Where? Spare part.
Spare part, like what? Like engine,
Battery.
tires,
But
battery. Okay, battery. Okay. Also, like, okay, we get two. Oh, let's get doors. Batteries is only you need one battery, so I just want to have different. Okay, doors. Okay, let's go. One battery works so as well. Raw material. Okay, so let's say in our car it's a sport car. It's 2 doors. 2 doors car, 4 tires and 1 engine. Okay, and this is the car that we're trying to do. Each one of these, it has to be a material master. Okay, it has to be a material master. It has to be a material master in the system. So in SAP, to represent this we call it the BOM, the bill of materials. We call it the BOM, which is bill of materials. So technically, we're going to create something called BOM. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And BOM means bill of materials. That means all these raw materials is actually kind of belong to the BOM. That means the list of the material which makes the product. I hope you get it. The list of material which makes the product. Go here, go to the home, get that connector. It's much easier. List of material which makes the product. Now we try to go like easy definition. So let's try to easy definition. Okay, the BOM is list of materials which makes the product. Okay, in SAP as well, activities. Anybody knows what activities is actually are? Like, give me some. I'll give you some example because I want to have very specific activities here. Let me get this one.
assembling.
Yeah, assembly could be one of them, but I want to have like prepared activities. I want to have 3 activities that you're gonna see all the time.
Delivery.
You're gonna have setup activities. For example, before you come to the work, you do some setups, you do some machining, okay, and you'll do some labor. You have some labor to do some work, assembly, whatever they do. And each of these, we call them activity. And even in SAP, we call them activity types. We call them activity types in SAP. Okay, I'm gonna make those one here. 1, 2, 3. I will make it here. Those activity types, they have to actually be executed in somewhere. Those activity types in SAP, we call them activities. activity types. I'll call here called activity type. This is master data called activity type. Activity type. Activity type, it represents the activity in the manufacturing work. Activity type. And here also we call labor activity type. Okay. Just like we have here the BOM, okay, before we go to something called the routing, this activity, it should take place, the actual work, it should take in a location. The location of work is called work center. That's what it's called. Okay, the location of work is called work center. So we're gonna come here, and we'll say here, this work, it has to be in a work center. Work center. Okay, meaning it means location of work. Okay, this is the location of work. Okay, you're gonna ask yourself a question now. For the materials, okay, it's easy. We can say, okay, the price of the material is the price of the purchase from the suppliers. Because are we buying this materials from suppliers? Most likely yes. This is the price of purchase from the suppliers. But what about the price of the activity? Okay, for example, let's say we have 10 hours for a setup. How much is the price of that? Or 10 hours for machining, or 3 hours for labor. Where's the price for that? For that, we have to actually plan. We have to actually give how much is going to cost us based on how much is the labor hours that is actually taken. How much is the rate? That's why before actually even do anything, okay. Let me just bring this one here. Before we do anything, all these activity, it should belong to a production cost center. And we know what cost center is. Cost center is the person or the department that is responsible about this cost. And that manager, he has to say, okay, for labor, every labor based on the hourly rate is about $10 or $15. So that's why after you have it belonging to a cost center, we have to do something called the activity rate. Meaning what? Activity rate. Okay. Activity rate, that means how much is it per hour for that activity in this cost center. Let's say those guys, they belong to Fahad's department. And Fahad, he owned that department, and he will say, okay, based on my department, my guys, every hour is about for example, $15, because this is how much their salary is, $15. And for every machine, it's going to cost us about $16. For every setup hours, it's going to cost us $13. Usually in the manufacturing industry, they're meticulous about the cost per unit, okay, or the cost per hour, the cost per unit. So here we have to go through a process is called activity rating to see how much is the dollars per hours, okay, or per unit. I'm just giving an hour as an example. How much is the dollar per hour? Okay. So we said we have
A question, the production cost center. So basically there is a cost center for every activity separately?
Not for every activity. Manufacturing cars, in that manufacturing area, for every location. Okay, for every location.
Work center.
Yeah, for every work center, exactly. For every work center, usually is a production cost center. You could have multiple work centers, they're sharing the same cost center. Okay, you could be having the entire factory and the work center, but not likely. Usually they want to break it down. If you ever heard that word, here's the shift supervisor. Most likely he's the owner for that. Okay, the shift supervisor, he's the owner for that cost center.
But there's an activity rate.
Production.
Yeah, there's a rate. Yeah.
There's an activity rate for each trade in that work center.
Exactly. For example, if assembly, there's a rate for it.
Yeah.
This activity, it costs us $6 an hour. Usually, this is a task any manufacturing company they have to go through. They need to understand how much does each activity cost them. For example, assembly, this is how much it costs us. Even for those like maintaining equipment and stuff, they have to know how much this maintenance shutdown is going to cost me based on each activity. Okay, this is like business. Okay, this is what they do in companies. So we'll say here, okay, we got a bunch of activity types that is actually it's not assigned, but I would say belonging to this guy, and then they have to actually do the rating for them. Okay, we have to do the rating for them, and eventually, okay, here's just a rate. Okay, to say how many hours, how many per hours, and stuff like that. Eventually, in the work center, we have to say what is the what is the production cost center, what is the activity tabs as well. That is actually belonging to that. Okay, let me just. Okay, I want to keep it simple. I keep it very, very simple. I want you to understand what's happening in the factory. Okay, let's start to come here. Okay, and here's an SAP. I told you guys, activity type, it's a controlling master data. It's a controlling master data. Just like what we've seen before. We have different kind of cost elements. We've seen assessment cost element. Anybody remembers what is the category for the cost element for assessment that we did yesterday? The cost
42.
element. 42, exactly. For activity types, we have cost elements, but they are 43. 43. That's the cost elements. Inside the activity type, you cannot create activity type without having a 43 cost element. You can't. So it's a prerequisite. You can't just argue why and how. This is how SAP work. You have to have a cost element. You can have one cost element for all of the three of them, but it doesn't make sense. Most of the time, we have setup cost element. Okay, activity type cost element. I'll say cost. Also CE. CE means cost element. Just keep it in mind. Cost element here, an activity type cost element. Cost element. I remember these. They have the magical cost element category 43. Category 43. So every time you create activity type, the system's going to ask you, what is your cost element? What is your cost element? What is your cost element? So you're going to create those here. Here's your cost element. Here's your cost element. And here's your cost element. Okay. So if I wanted to start to do this work, I'm going to create my raw materials, then I create my bombs. And then if I want to start doing this, I need to create my cost elements, then create my activity tabs, then create my production cost center, then do my rating, then do my work center. That's not enough. Guys, we told you. Okay, we told you here. Oops. Looking back here. A little bit tuned out. I know it's an overkill, but okay, I'll just move it a little bit here. Okay, the BOM or the bill of material, it shows you the list of materials. But now if I'm making a product, where am I going to see the list of activities? Okay, there's something called routing. If you ever heard the routing, routing is the list of activities that is needed to make this car. Let me just get that one here. Okay, we call it routing. Sometimes we call it rate routing or routing. Routing, it tells you what is the list of activities. Usually, we just assign the work center to the routing. The work center has all the activities by default. But here, we can say the quantity. Here, the work center tells you what kind of activities it can be done in it. For example, we'll say, in this shop, think of it, work center is a shop. And in the factory, there's many, many shops. Many shop area, many work area. I'm gonna show you the pictures later on. In the factory, there's many shop area. There's many work area. We call it work area, and you'll see a number up there. number 63, number 43. If you ever went to any manufacturing or assembly line, if you ever went to a manufacturer, you will see like an area, like you'll see it is zoned. Like this is a work center. And in that work center, we can only do washing, cutting, and heating ovens, for example. That's the only stuff that we can do. But you could actually push 3 different kind of product into that work center: cars, motorcycle, airplane. Okay, because that work center, all what it does engine. For example, you can create engines for cars, engine for motorcycles, and engine for airplane. Okay, and here's what you want to think: every product, based on the product, we have this. The routing has to tell us how much of each activity we need. Yes, the work center, it tells you we can do cutting, machining, and heating, but the routing is going to tell us we need 3 hours of machining, 2 hours for cutting, and 1 hour for labor to make a car. But to make an airplane, we need 200 hours of labor, 600 hours of machining, and 6 hours of labor, and so on and so forth. So the routing, it tells you how much of this activity you need, how many hours. Okay, it tells you how much of each activity you need. Yes, the work center is assigned, which it tells you what kind of activity is going to be needed, what kind. For example, setup, machining, and labor. This is the only kind of activities they have in this work center. I have work centers called 66. In work center 66, I can only do setup, machine, learning, labor. Okay, the routing, it tells me how much of each activity we need in order to make the car. Okay, if I have
basically the work center does not provide enough details.
Exact work center, it tells you what kind of stuff we have in that work center. Think of it. This is a workshop. This is shop. In that shop floor, I can only do these things. Okay, but the routing, it tells me how much of each of these activities I can do. Maybe one of the product, like let's say I want to have a baby bike. Okay, kids bike. Kids bike, it doesn't need setup. Just do the machining and labor. That's it. Doesn't need setup. So I'll say 2 hours, 1 hour, boom. That's the routing for it. You need a car. I need 16 hours, 3 hours, and 4 hours. I need an airplane. I need 200 hours, 600 hours, 400 hours, and so on and so forth. So routing, it tells you, okay, how much of activity you need. Okay. And BOM, it doesn't show you the list. It's not only the list of material and how much of materials we need. Okay, it's not just, okay, I need tires, engines, and doors. I need 1 engine, 2 doors, 4 tires. The quantity is very important. Same thing here. That's what the BOM and routing. Okay. So if we do this kind of stuff, we create the cost elements, which we know. Activity type is very simple. And then you're going to create a cost center, which you know how to create a cost center. Then you have to do the planning for the rate, for the hourly rate. Then you actually assign it to a work center. Then you create your routing. And usually routing is based on the product. You have to say based on the product.
So okay. One routing for each finished good?
For each finished goods. For each finished good, you're going to have what? You're going to have a BOM and routing.
Mm-hmm. But here, maybe also, the routing does not have to be connected to the all activities over there, because you said the work center is not enough.
You're asking the wrong question, Malik. Can I ask it again?
I'm not asking, I'm commenting.
Huh?
You said the routing or the activities have to be connected.
All activities for that work center is going to be here. This work center now, for this work center, you're going to be having setup, machine, and labor. When you create the routing, you're going to see all the activities. Just give the numbers for them. If there's no setup, just keep it 0.
Yeah, but like you need the details, like you said, the hours. So there is a line, I don't know, like cost element or whatever, is not connected to the activity itself. Because you said work center, now you have an error from or a connecting point between the work center and the routing, right?
Malik, when you create the routing, all what you need is a work center. Okay, all what you need is the work center, and another screen will open with all the activities in that work center, and all what you need to do, how many hours that is needed, how much quantity for each activity.
Where they get the details of the hours.
This is, you get it from your boss, you get it from your company. For this product, we need to have 10 hours for this, 16 hours. This the business has to give to us.
Mm-hmm.
I told you, just for every product, we need to know how many hours. This is not SAP work. Even in just like paper, they have to know how many hours I need for each activity and how many quantity I need for each raw materials.
Okay, so just to recap, so all this, the visual diagram is just to show us how the connection in the system looks like, right?
The system, how it's going to look like, and explain to you how things is done in the real world. Okay. In the real world, let's say we want to produce a car, that's what we get. Okay, you're going to get something like this. If you want to produce a car in the real world, that's what you get from the business. Okay, I'm going to produce a car. Okay, I want to build a Tesla. Okay, that's what's it. This is the finished goods. The finished goods is Tesla. They're going to tell you, okay, the first raw material is going to be doors. Okay, and it's going to be 4. Okay, maybe 4 doors. 4 doors. It's going to be the second raw material is going to be, for example, engine is going to be, for example, 1 engine. And the third raw material is going to be, I forget what you have here. Okay, mirrors. Okay, mirrors. And it's going to be 2 mirrors, 2-side mirrors. Okay, and not only this, then they'll say, to do this, we need to have 16 hours, 15 hours of what? Of, for example, setup work. And we have to have, for example, 20 hours of machining work. Okay, and then we have to have about 200 hours of labor. Okay, 200 hours of labor. And not only this, they have to tell you, okay, for this, okay, the hourly rate for this one is about $2 an hour. That's the kind of thing that you get, $2 an hour. And for this one, we need to have, it's going to tell us about $3 an hour. Okay, $3 an hour. And for this one here, we need to have about maybe $120 an hour. Okay, so this we call it now the activity rate. Okay, and this we call it the rate routing hours. The rate routing. So this number 15, 20, 200 in here in the routing, we have to say for making a Tesla, you need to have these hours. And here in the activity rate, you have to say 2, 320. Okay, and in the BOM, you have to say 4, 1, and 2 for each raw materials. For example, okay, say doors 4, engine 1, and mirrors 2. That's the kind of thing that you're gonna have. Okay, that means for every product that we do, we have to have a list of materials and quantity, and we have to have a list of activities with their quantities and their rate. That's what you get from the business. Without this information, you get nothing. Okay, that means before they actually can do it in the system, they should be able to do it in the book on paper. If they can do it in the book on paper, then we cannot do it in the system. Give me 1 second, please. Give me 1 second, sorry. Hey, Deepika.
Malik, is it clear now?
Yes, I guess a bit clear. But when we start configuring, I guess it will be much clearer. Because right now, if you can see down there, the activity rate is not connecting to anything. So basically, like kind of production cost center is reporting to activity rate, and that report does nothing.
Malik.
Okay. So I see where the confusion is. You are looking at the arrow, the way it's connecting to each other. But what he wants us to just get is that there are activities that is involved in finished product, right? When you see those activities, there is a routing that gives you the full details of some of those activities. So the routing will tell you how many hours is involved in each of those activities. And in your work center or your cost center, in your production cost center, you have to define what the activity rates of each of those activity will be. But like you said, when we get to configuration, we will understand better.
Yeah, do look at the errors. Understand. Do look at the errors in the viz. You just look at, try to understand. This is just like a, this is not the system. This is just like a demonstration of the system. Because now we're trying to explain concept, what routing is, what work center is, and how things are connected. Thank you so much, Hakeem, and thank you so much, Mike, for the really insightful question. I really appreciate it. Let me come back here.
My dear Ahmed.
Yes.
Can we recap really quick what we just have crossed?
A recap at the end. A recap at the end. It's exactly, we are like really out in the middle. Let's just talk about the overhead, and I'll come back and recap later on. So now we got the raw material cost. Now we got the activity cost. Now we'll start to worry about the overhead cost. So for sure, the material cost is gonna get the raw material cost is gonna come from here. Okay, and this one here is gonna get the activity cost. Oops, why is not doing the zigzag move? Okay, I know what, let's just do it here. Okay, and now we're talking about the overhead. How are we gonna get the overhead? There's different ways. There's different ways. Sometimes you just want to add a percentage on top of the raw material. Sometimes you have a specific amount. You want to add it. Okay, I want to add $2,000 because to ship this car from here to here, from Japan to America, is going to cost us for down $2,000. Okay, something like this. So now I'm going to go for one way, which is called the additive cost, the easiest way. I don't want to say the easiest way. It's just like one of the ways to actually bring cost here. So we have a functionality called additive cost. Additive cost is functionality where you can add a lump sum amount on the finished product. For example, this car costs you $20,000. I want to add $2,000 on top of that. No matter what happened, no matter how much is the cost, no matter how much is the cost. If the cost is $1, I want to add $2,000. So this is called additive cost. This is functionality. It's called additive cost. For this, we need to get some stuff. Okay, we need to get some activity types, not activity types, sorry, cost element. Okay, need to get some cost element. I'll just make it here. I'll make it here. We have to have cost element, but we call it overhead cost element. Okay, I know we've seen here category 43 for activity type cost element, and we've seen 42 for assessment cost element. Now we're going to learn about another type of category, which is called 41, which is overhead cost element. This is another one. It's also secondary cost. It's a secondary cost element. Everything we're talking about, 41, 42, 43, they are all secondary cost element. So in order to do the additives, two things has to happen, but one is to have to actually, when you create the additives, you have to actually call in, you have to say what is the cost element, otherwise you'll never be able to do it. And this additives will actually bring it here, okay? We'll bring the dollars of the additive to the overhead, okay? Let me just make it smaller, smaller. Or maybe make it a little bit bigger. You can see here, at the end of the day, I said, I want it to be my cost. I want it to be broken down, raw materials, activity, and overhead. Every company is different. Some companies, they don't want to break the cost, raw materials, activity, overhead. They want to break it down to primary raw material, secondary raw material, expensive raw material, second grade raw materials, third grade raw materials, trading raw materials. The raw materials bucket, they could break it to 6 different type. The activity, they could maybe break it into also multiple different buckets as well. Overhead, they could actually break it 16 different buckets. Freight overhead, import duty overhead, surcharges overhead, legal fees overhead. Okay, they could break it down. This, it depends on the business. It's not up to us. I broke it here into 3 different buckets because I wanted to, but in business usually they break it even further. It's not just 3. Maybe they go, the last business that I've been in, they broke their costing, the cost of the product, they broke it down to almost 20 different buckets. So this one, the buckets here, raw materials, activity, and overhead, this is what we can configure. And the configuration for this is called, oh, oops, not that one. This setup is called cost component structure. Cost component structure. Okay, cost component structure. I can't even see anymore. Okay, cost component structure. Cost component structure. This is the name of the name, like the name of the configuration to do the bucketing. Okay, you can say, okay, I create a cost component structure and you give it a name. For example, you give it a name here. I'll say it's AX. This is the name that you chose. Any name you want. Like it does have a name, AX, and you're gonna have components. The cost component structure, cost component structure, it's composed of what? Composed of components, which is buckets for the cost. For me now, I have only 3 different components, and usually the components is numbers. Okay, so you could say, okay, component number 10 or component number 1. This is the component number 10, and this is component number 20. You give it a number, any number you want. Okay, usually we just say something like this: 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 with 10 series most of the time. Okay, just keep this in your mind. Okay, it does have a number, and every component has a description. Every component has a description, and this is the description for it. We'll call raw materials, description, activity, and overhead. Okay, we have a cost component structure. Okay, cost component structure, and we have components underneath it, 10, 20, and 30, and you give it a description, raw materials, activity, and overhead. And then you have to tell the system how am I going to get hold of this, and how am I going to get hold of this. Technically, you assign the cost elements to it. For example, if you assign the cost element of the freight overhead here, the freight overhead is going to come under this bucket. This is a way just of actually bucketing, just to show how actually it looks like in the screen. If you assign the overhead cost element to this one, then it's going to come under the overhead. But if you assign the cost element number of the overhead here, then you see the cost here under this and under the activity. Okay, and the same thing. We have to assign these cost elements to where? To the activity. And also for the raw materials, you don't see the cost element here. There's no cost element. Cost element, whatever cost element we did before in OBYC. Remember, guys, we've done in the material management, we did create some cost element in the OBYC under GBB. Whatever we put under the GBB, this is going to be the cost element is going to be visible or used for those raw materials. If you didn't get it, it's fine. We're going to see it in a minute. I don't hear you, Malik, if you're talking.
I'm saying it's still on the material management.
Oh, yeah.
Same one we did before.
Yeah, if you want to get materials, you have to deal with material management. Okay, it's from GBB. Just keep it simple. If you didn't remember, we're gonna see it in a minute. That's it. That's the entire situation. Remember, we have a car, and we want to see the cost of the car. Okay, and we know to see the cost of the car, we need to have raw materials, activities, and overhead. As in a nutshell, this is the kind of cost that we're gonna be having. You're gonna be having, for example, you have a car. You have to have some raw materials like engine, tires, wheels, whatever. This is going to cost you, okay? And you're going to see whatever is the cost for all these raw materials. This is going to be the raw material cost. And you have some activities, for example, assembly, washing, cutting, heating. This activity is going to cost you. This is going to be the cost of the activity. And for sure, we have some overhead. you ship it, you do something with the transportation, import duties, taxes, legal fees, certification fees. All this is considered overhead. This is going to be overhead. In order to get the overhead, we have to create an overhead cost element in the SAP, and we have to do the additive cost. In order to get the activity, we have to create an activity, an internal activity category cost element, secondary cost element for each activity, and we have to create something called activity types. Okay, and then we have to create a production cost center, and then we have to actually have the rate. Okay, let me just, I don't like to have this one here. I like to have this arrows here. We need to have, let me just bring it here, because usually we don't assign, there's nothing called assigning the cost center to activity type, but what we do, we actually, whenever we do the rating, the system is going to ask, oh, you want to do activity rate for which cost center? That's how the system is going to do it. And you're going to see it in a second. If you get confused, don't worry. You're going to see it in a second. There's no assignment between the cost center and activity. There's no like assignment. But whenever you do the rate, the system is going to ask you, you want to do the rate for this activity type for which cost center? So we're going to do this. We're going to do the rates, and then we're going to do the work centers. We create the work center. In the work center, we'll tell what is the production cost center and what is the activities that is available in there. Okay, this will allow us to do the routing. It tells us how much activities we need to make the car. Okay. Similarly, we have to create all those master data. Okay, and the master data for the raw materials and the finished goods, and this is going to make the BOM. This is the summarization. Before you even get started, you have to think about the actual work or the actual information that you need. Okay, sometimes it's like, okay, you have to give me that information. You can create a prototype, but they have to give you that information to get an accurate data about their costing. But what is the purpose? Okay, let's say I've actually looked into, I've done all that work. I created my, what I call it, cost estimate. That's the goal. Okay, we do all this work just to do something. Okay, let me just make this one here. We do those work, I told you, because we want to get the cost estimate, how much this cost is going to cost us. Okay, let me see here. You're going to get the cost estimate. That's the goal. Let's say we've done all that work. Okay, we've done all that work. We got all the stuff here. We created the cost estimate. Now we know it's $25,000. You get the cost estimate is $20,000. But then what? This $25,000, it has to be updated into the material master. That's the end goal. Okay, in the material master, if you guys remember, in the material master, there's multiple tabs, and one of the tabs is called the price. Okay, the standard price, and it says the price of the material or the cost of the material. Eventually, if everything works well, when we create the cost estimate, let's say we'll figure it out to $25,000, then eventually this cost estimate has to be marked and released. Only once we do the release, then it's going to be updated into the finished goods master data. Okay, let me just make it much smaller here. Okay, I'll make this one much smaller here as well. Mark and release. Okay, it's a functionality. Okay, what here to create the cost estimate, you need to have all this stuff here. It's going to look into all your stuff here that is coming from the cost component structure. All the stuff here is going to be taken into consideration. Oh. All the stuff here is going to be taken into consideration. That's what the cost estimate. Cost estimate is going to use your BOM on routing and overhead. This is going to create the cost estimate. And this is just an estimate. You can create it many times as you want, but it's useless until we get that cost estimate. It has to update the material master. So this cost estimate is going to do this. We have to do something called mark and release. And once we do mark and release, it's going to update the finished goods material master. That's the goal. That's the end goal. Once you have it in the system, that's it. Every time you sell it, it's going to be taken care. The sales team they're going to be using that. Because if you said it costs you $25,000, the sales team, they have to add the markup. Every company usually, they'll say, okay, our margin is 20%. Okay, the sales team now, they know the formula. That's what the sales team do. It's $25,000, and I'll say it's 20%, right? So they'll say, okay, our MSRP price is about $30,000. This is how much we sell it for. You sell it to the customer, $30,000. You add something. Then
So
yeah,
they set in the profit margin.
yeah, exactly. This is how it works. If you have it in the material master, then the sales team, they can see it. Then they can act on it. Okay. Then we're going to study something tomorrow, which is Copa, profitability analysis. Then you will be able to see the profit. Let's say the sales team says it's 30,000. So when you create your billing and sales order, blah, 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 it's going to be 30,000 minus 25,000. Then you're going to say, oh, I have $5,000 margin in that one. Okay. Then you'll say, okay, 5,000 divided by 25,000. Then I'll say, oh, that's amazing. I'm getting about 20% margin in this one. Okay. Anyways, this is how it works. This is how the business look at. Because remember, at the end, it's checks and balances. Our goal here, our goal here, not to talk about sales, not to talk about margin, not to talk about anything. How can we capture our cost? And we have it in the material master, eventually. Okay. This is our goal. Any questions?
Question, Ahmed.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, now for the raw material, we always do pricing or costing by material per item, and on activity we do the costing activity per hour. How about the overhead? Because I guess it's.
I told you, Malik. Overhead, there's different ways. It could be just like a lump sum amount. Okay, a lump sum amount. Let's say it could be a lump sum amount. It could be rates, percentage, 10%, 5%. Now I'm just going with the simplest approach, a lump sum amount. There's another approach where
because of that.
Like a rent of warehouse, this is overhead cost.
Exactly.
It's not indirect cost. We said that's indirect cost. Correct, Ahmed?
Correct. It's indirect cost. It's indirectly associated with the manufacturing process. There's some cost that is directly associated to manufacturing, like the raw materials, like the activities. Overheads, usually it's indirect cost. But I don't want to go into that. When the strategy, we're going to talk about that one in more details. For now, I want to focus like in a very micro level. Okay, there's multiple ways to actually calculate overhead. It could be percentage, or could be a lump sum. Now I'm showing you the lump sum. Let's go with the simplest approach. Later on in the strategy, I'm going to tell you how can you do the percentage wise. We use another functionality called cost and sheet. We're not going to be talking about it today. Any other questions? Very good question though. Very good question. Any other question, guys? Any question goes. Guys, this is your opportunity, because this topic is absolutely, a lot of consultants they are afraid of. A lot of consultants. And if you just say, I know costing, and I know costing very well, people that will listen to you extra carefully. Project system, costing, these topics, a lot of people that run away from it.
My dear Ahmed, quick
Yes,
question.
Sir. Yeah.
Can you take it in a domino way? Which one starts first and it goes till the end?
From the right to left. Okay, from the right to left. So if you want to set up the system, you have to set it up from here. For example, you have your raw materials, you have the material master, then the BOM, then you come here, activity types, cost element, production cost center, activity rating, work center, and so on and so forth. From left to right. Once you come here, that's it. You run your cost estimate, and then for sure, I forgot the cost center, the cost component structure. Once you do all this kind of stuff, then you have the cost component structure. The way you bucket it the way that you want, then you run your cost estimate. From the right to left.
Awesome.
Yeah, sure, no problem. This we call it modeling. We're going to talk about in the strategy how you model your design, like how you model your design, because there's so many. Okay, at the end of the day, you're just going to give them a model. Okay, this is how. If for example, if they have a new product, They didn't have to think about calling you. You set the model for them. So now all I need to do is just like, okay, if they have a new product come in, they didn't have to call me. Okay, all they need to do is just to follow the model. They know, okay, we have a new product coming in. Okay, now we need to get all the raw materials. Okay, number one, we get all the raw materials and finished goods material master created. Then we have to have the BOM created. Then we have to create all the cost elements for the activity tabs. We create all the activity tabs. Then we have to create a production cost center. Then we have to do the rating, and then we have to do the work centers. Then we have to do the routing or the rate routing. Then we have to have any cost elements for the overhead, and then we have to do the additives. Okay, and this all has to be actually assigned. All these cost elements, they have to be assigned to the cost component structure. Okay, this is called modeling. We're going to talk about it later on. It's called BPML. For those who are working like in business process right now, it's called business process modeling, and it's very important for consultants. Very important. Your ability to actually keep things repeatable, it's absolutely priceless. You have to have the ability to actually create business models, ability to create BPML, change BPML, and to do like some like drawing like this. Okay, there's many different tools, and don't just get married to the tool. I use Visio. I do it on paper. It doesn't matter. Okay, but one of the most common tools that businesses use, there's Visio, Microsoft Visio or Visio, and there's Cameo, Cameo, and there's ARIS modeling, ARES, SAP ARIS modeling. These are tools that we use it for modeling all the time, and we're going to be talking about it in the strategy. We're talking about in the strategy. You can even do the same thing with like simple Microsoft, but usually we want something like a little bit more robust than Microsoft Word document. We're gonna use something more robust. At least companies, they use more robust tools. Any other questions? Okay, talking about the Rakan, he gave me an idea. So in case if you want just like have numbering system, so I would say here's my number one. This is the number of things that I need to do. This number one here. Let me just make it look a little bit different. Okay, this is my number one. So I have to have this one. This is my number one here. Let me make it a little bit smaller. And then I'll say this is my number two. Okay. I created my raw materials. I created my BOM. Fantastic set. What else I need to do? I need to create my cost elements. Here's number three. I need to create my cost elements. That's fantastic. Then I need to create activity tab. Number four. Okay, I need to create my production cost center. Number five. Number six. It's not the best way, but I'm just using this one here now. Number seven. Number eight. Talk about it here, about number nine. Number 10. Number 11. Okay, then you'll be able to create your cost estimates, mark and release. 12. Anyway, so usually what I do, anyways, it's not the best way, but usually we have to have legends and stuff like that. But anyway, so I don't want to make a modeling conversation, but it's very important. This is the model. This is not the template, because usually this is the model. I tell them, okay, this is what we need, and I give them an empty template with one example in it. Meaning, okay, car, raw materials, tires, engines, blah, blah, blah. Then quantity, 3, 4, 6, whatever is that thing, just like this. I give them a template, Excel template. I tell them, fill it out for me. Okay, we're gonna talk about this one, how we manage the project, I'll show you what kind of templates, requirement gathering templates. Okay. At the end of the day, your consultant, okay, you're gonna give them templates. They have to fill it out, garbage in, garbage out. If they give you just absolutely nonsense stuff, the system is not gonna fix stupid thinking or garbage data. You have to give me good data. They give it to me. They give me the data, and then we have to actually do migration. Okay, and we're gonna study this one when we go into our project later on. Okay, but this is the model. Okay, given this is the model, and usually this model, I give them an addendum with a piece of documentation. I'll say number 1 explains number 1 what it is. Number 2 with the same box numbers I have. I say, for example, number 1 is your raw materials, and here's example for materials in the system if you wanted to create one. And I give them material number 3, 3, 4, 4, 6. Just go look at it if you needed help. Number 2, this is what number 2 is, bill of materials, blah, blah, blah. I'll tell them, it's a list of materials that is needed to create a product. And in it, we have to say, what is the material and what is the quantity for each one of them. I give them just like addendum, like literally one piece of paper, one page of Word document. It explains to them the model. Then I give them a spreadsheet. Okay, remember, model, explanation or addendum, then a template. I send them the template. They have to fill it out. Usually companies, they have about maybe just like easily, I would say easily, they don't have like one product. Okay, Akeem, you work in a manufacturing company. How many products that you guys have? Wouldn't hear you, yeah.
Say that again.
You work in a manufacturing company. How many products you guys have? How many products? Approximately.
Approximate like 10.
10 is considered just like really kind of conservative number. That's good. Okay, yeah, you consider. Okay, I'm sorry. You're talking about only the finished product, but there's sub-assemblies, many sub-assemblies. Yeah.
Oh, assemblies is in thousands. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be thousands. Yeah. So they're gonna be having thousands. They're gonna be having thousands. You're gonna be getting a massive document from them.
Yeah.
Okay, a massive. Yeah, for sure. Yes, finished product usually is about small number, but sub-assemblies, which needs to be manufactured as well. It has to follow the same process. It has to have BOM and routing and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And when they give it to you, there's no way I'm going to go to the system, one by one. I have to create a program, and we're going to be talking about migration. You're going to do migration too. You're going to be doing migration too. I mean, if you follow all this and if you continue to the next phase, for those who connect, hopefully all of you, but you're going to do migration. You're going to migrate the data, and I'm going to give you examples, real examples, how you migrate the data. But all it starts from here: model, explanation, template. They fill the template. We get the template. We upload it. We create a program to upload it. This is how the projects work. Anyways, time is not in our favor, so I'm going to go to the system. If anybody has any question, I'm going to go to the system while we are. Now we're going to create our raw materials and finished goods. Now we go as usual. MM01. I'm not going to explain so much. You should be expert with this. You can select anything here. I will select mechanical. Let me start with auto etch first. Here's my auto etch, and you click enter. Basic. Sales. Please follow whatever I'm having here. Storage 1, storage 2, accounting 1, accounting 2, costing 1, costing 2, and you click OK. Okay, he's going to ask you about your plant, B620. Here's my plant, location, B620, B620, and it was, I can't remember. It's B6, and you save. Okay. This is raw material. So we said we want to have, okay, let's say doors. Say door, and I'll say here's its pieces. Choose any material group, doesn't matter. Gross weight, if you want to have that one, I'll say the doors gross weight is about 80, and then I'll say 50, and you click enter. Go here. I don't need anything here. Click enter. Here's the sales org information. I don't want tax. I'll say tax exempt. We've talked about this one before. I'm just going to go really quickly here. Say tax exempt. Here, yeah, I don't need any. Here, I need the norm, NORM. Click enter. And we talked about the transportation group, and we talked about, oops, not this one. For now, select anything. It doesn't matter, seriously. The loading group, we talk about crane and all this kind of stuff. I'll select crane. Because anyway, I'm not planning to sell it. I'm just trying to actually create the cost estimate, so it doesn't matter for me. Purchasing group, whatever is B62, this last one. need to do. Click enter, 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 enter. Oh, this is very important. So valuation class, it's a raw materials. Anybody remembers the valuation class ideally? 3,000?
300.
Yeah,
Tom.
yeah, 3,000, yeah. 3,000. So this is a raw materials. You have to, it's a V, moving average. If it's a moving average, you have to update the moving average price. If it's a standard, then you have to update the standard price. So now the moving average, since it's a raw material, I'll say this is doors. I'll say each door is about $1,200. Click enter, enter, and save. Enter and save. We just did the doors. I want to get that number right here because it's very important to us. Copy that number. You have to have a good organization. You don't want to go back and forth, look for your stuff. Please do it. It'll save you a lot of hassle. I'll say here's raw materials. I'll say here's my raw materials list. First one here, doors. The doors. This is the raw material. And let me just go here and create another. I'm going to create as a copy of. I'm not going to create from scratch again. So I'll say here, create a mechanical auto etch, another raw materials. Click enter. For now, click enter, 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 and save. Okay, fantastic. We just finished now all the materials that we needed. So I'm gonna copy the number. I want to make sure that I have it somewhere. Please, okay, you're doing like one of the most complex things. So just make sure you have a very good documentation. Keep it simple. Here's my go ahead, yeah. Here's my car.
So back to the question that I asked before, that why didn't we use copy? And you said because of the material type. That's a material type, a different one. So if you minimize this.
Oh, sorry. You mean this one?
Yeah, so you see that the material type we use is still FERT.
Before, no, I haven't created FERT. I created 3 auto etches. And now I created FERT. I created 1 FERT. That's why I did not copy from the auto etches. I could have created from the FERT that I created earlier if I have one before, but now I don't have one.
Okay.
This is FERT. This is auto etch. This is auto etch. This is auto etch.
Okay.
I created at the beginning. I created this one, and I used this one as a basis to create this and this.
Okay. And this one is FERT. All these ones are RH. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So now let's go back to the model.
Before you move on, valuation class, where did you get that from?
7920. You write it down. Usually, it's available for you. It's just an indicator. If it's not there for you, you can create any number you want. But keep it as a best practice, and most of the time, keep it 3,7920. And most of the time, those are moving average. Okay, most of the time, this is moving average. And here is a standard price. Most of the time. All right. Anyways, we finished the materials. Now let's start to actually do the BOM, bill of materials. To do the BOM is CS01. Okay, write it down if you didn't have it. In the so we just did the BOM. And now what you're gonna do? We finished the materials. We did the BOM. What we need to do after that?
Routing. Oh no, the activities
Look at the model. Yeah. No, look at the model.
as cost element for activities. Right.
Exactly. Cost element for activities. So I'm gonna cost elements. Anybody knows how to create secondary cost element? T code. We've done it yesterday. Key A06. Primary cost element if it's 00. Secondary cost element is KA06 to create secondary cost element. Please remember that. So here I'll say I'll give it numbers. I'll say, for example, I can't remember. Just I'll say 6100 is my first one. Okay, just usually you have to have naming convention. Okay, for now I would say all the cost elements. I would say it starts by 6. I'll say 6100, 6200, and 6300. 6100, 6200, 6300. Just keep it simple. Or sometimes you go 6100. 1, 6102, 6103. Okay, you just find your naming convention. Be consistent. Okay, now I'm gonna go 6100 is already there. 6101, 6102, and 6103. They're not there, so I'm gonna use them. 6101, 611. You have to say the valid from the beginning of life. Make sure you are not doing Malik's mistake. I'm gonna call on you. This is for me more than for you, trust me, because I always forget. 6100, 6101, and I'll say here from the beginning. 6101, 6102, 6103. I'm gonna use that one. Okay, I'm gonna say here, give it a name. I'll say this is the setup. This is the setup cost element. I'll say setup, and I'll say here's hours. Here's the activity cost element category. Anybody remembers what kind of category?
41 or 42, 43.
11.
Nope. Look here, guys. 43.
Oh,
Yeah.
43.
Okay. 43. For this one, we're gonna have 43. For revenue cost element, yes, 11. But now I'm gonna use 43, and you just save. So I never actually use it here. I'm just doing it here because I'm with you right now. So I will say here's activity cost element. We have one which is 6101 for, I'll say here is setup for 6101, 2 machine for 6102, and 3 for labor, exactly 6103. Okay, now I need to create my activity type. To create activity types, we haven't seen it before, but it's very simple. KL01, this is the T code. Okay, I need to create 3 activity types as well. I want to use the same naming convention to keep it easy for myself. And even in real business, sometimes they keep it this way. I'm going to use the same naming convention, 6101, 6102, 6103. Okay, so I'll go here to the KL01. Make sure you are in the right controlling area. Set controlling area. Make sure you're in the right controlling area. So I'm in my controlling area. And now I'm going to say 6101 from 19.5. I'll click enter. And now give it a name. I'll say this is setup activity, setup, and the unit is hours. Here say an asterisk, here say a 1, and here's the cost element. It's going to ask you what cost element. Don't be panic if the cost element is different from the activity type. So use whatever that you created before. In my case, I want it to be the same. That's why it keeps it easy for myself. Okay, then you save. As simple as that. Then you save. As simple as that. I'm going to get right here. Actually use the same name. I use the same name to keep it easy for myself. And let's go to the model. So if we go to the model, we just created the category, we created the activity tabs. Now I'll create one production cost center. I'll create one production cost center right now. We know how to create a cost center. It's exactly the same way. KS01, if you remember, T code KS01. I'm in the same control area, so I didn't have to go check again. Trust me, if I don't do it even myself now, I'll get crazy. So production cost center, you have to update it, cost center, and I'll say it was 6,500. Okay, that's what production cost center that I created, production cost center. Now let's just move on. See in the model, we created the cost activity type, cost element, activity types, production cost center. Now I have to do the rate route, the activity rate, KP26. This is the T code for it, KP26, KP26. Okay, I mean that's why I told you guys we don't assign the activity to the cost center, but when you do the rate routing, you tell the system for this production cost center, I want to have this activity type. How do we do it? Now I'm going to show you how we do it. Come here, /n KP26, and you click enter. This is how you do the activity rating. Okay, let me just come back here. Okay, we've done that. KP26, this is completed. Now I have to do the work center. In the work center, I have to say what kind of activities is going to be there. Work center is simple, CR01. So I'm going to go now and create the work center. /n CR01. You click enter. The system, make sure you are in. Standard SAP. This is the formula. That means you're not considering any weighted on it. For example, 1 hour means 1 hour at all the time.
Yeah, I mean, why is the SAP 003? It's not in the first. It's make difference.
For now, no. For now, no. I just want to keep it simple. This is standard SAP. We use it as is. Later on, if you want to customize it, you can customize it later on. For now, use them. If you want to use them all SAP 1, you can use them SAP 1 for now.
Guys, this is what I mean. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So now I just want to get my work center right here. Here's my work center. Let me just come back here. I'm just trying to be consistent with my naming. Work center. Here's my work center for now. BT620. Okay. Let me just go back to the model. So if we go back here to the model, we've created the activity rate. We've done the work center. Now let's do the rate routing. Now is the moment of truth. This is where we want to do the work. So I'll go to the rate routing. It's CA01. This is the T code. CA01. CA01. Guys, again, it's CA01. CA01 is the rate routing. So you go CA01. This is going to ask me for. Okay, this is how you create the routing. Now let's just go back here. Let me go back to the model. So we did all this stuff. We did the work center. We did the routing. We did the BOM. We did the routing. That's wonderful now. So now we want to create an activity tab, sorry, a cost element for overhead. I want to create the additive cost. So let's try to do this. So let's do this together right now. I'll create the cost element. Anybody knows how to create a secondary cost element?
KA06.
Exactly. KA06. And here you can give it any, I'll say here's 5100 if it's available for me. I need to make sure that I'm in the right controlling area. I'm in the right. I want you to remember. So 51 is my overhead. So I'll say here is my overhead cost element, which is 5100. 5100. So we've done all that work now. We've done all that crazy work. Okay, so let me just go back to the model. Okay, let's go back to the model. I made a mistake right here. I said this is number 11. I want this number 10, and I want this number 11. Okay, before you go ahead and create the additive cost, you want to make sure you create your own cost component structure. Okay, make sure you create cost component structure. Otherwise, you're going to get in a problem. The cost component structure first, number 10, then you'll be able to create the additive cost. Keep this in your mind. Okay, this numbering is very, very important. It doesn't matter you put it here, put it there. Numbering is very important in the model. So now let's just not waste too much time. I'm going to go ahead and create the cost component structure. It's just very simple, very straightforward. To create it is OKTZ. Okay, to create the cost component structure is OKTZ. It is OKTZ. OKTZ. This is how you create the cost component structure. It's OKTZ. OKTZ. You click enter, and you just click new one, and just say if see AX. Yeah, AX is available for. You're gonna work with the CFO. Hey, Mr. CFO, tell me how would you like to see it cost? Then you're gonna work with the manufacturing team, so you can get all the BOM and routing in orders. And this takes year. It takes almost a year. You're gonna send them the template. I promise you, I swear, the template is gonna come as crap. Okay, stuff it comes like completely different fields. It come missing stuff. Okay, you're gonna go back and ask them. You have to give me all the BOMs and routing. Otherwise, we're not gonna go further. That's why it takes 1 year to implement a solution like this. Okay, I'm gonna save it here. So now let's go back to the model. We've done this. We've done all the cost component structure. Number 10 is, as you can see here, step number 10 is done. We've just done this model together. That's amazing. So now let's go do our additives. The one which failed before, it should work now. So to do the additives, again, CK74, again, CK74 to do the additives, CK74, CK74 to do the additives. And the same thing, it's gonna ask you about costing variance. I'm gonna say costing variant PPC1. This is the one that we're gonna use, PPC1. And you have to make sure that you have the car, whatever is your finished product. Make sure you have the finished product here, and here's the plan code, and you just click enter. Just do exactly what you did before it failed because we didn't have enough configuration. So I'll come here and I'll say it's one quantity, and I'll say this is a freight cost. Then I'll say here is the amount is about $2,500, and it's gonna ask about my cost element. Anybody remembers? 5,100, and you click enter. You see now? You see now what happened? As soon as you say 5,100, the system immediately knows it's 30. Okay, because it's assigned. If it wasn't signed, you're gonna get an error message. All what you need to do now, save. This is how you create your additives. It's a lump sum amount. Whatever is the cost of the, like, regardless, okay, regardless of the cost of the car, $2,500 is gonna be added. That's what a lump sum, we call it additive cost. That's what additive cost is. So now, when I go back to the model, okay, we've done all that great work. We've done the cost component structure. We have done the additive cost. Now, all what you want to do is what?
Cost estimate. The cost estimate.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, cost estimate is just like a math engine. That's what it is. It's gonna see based on the quantity of the BOM, it's gonna tell you how much is the material cost. Based on the activity rate and the activity quantity is gonna tell you how much is the activity cost, and it's gonna look at the overhead. It's gonna kind of put them all, mush them all together, and tells you at the end this is the cost. Okay, and it's gonna give it to you line by line. And you say no, I don't want it line by line. I want to say it based on the cost components. I want to summarize it for me based on the cost component, which is raw material, overhead, and cost. Overhead, so raw material, activity, and overhead. We're gonna see it right now. So we go here. All what you need to do, CK11N. CK11N to run your cost estimate. CK11N. CK11N to run your cost estimate, and you click enter. And guys, I want to ask you this question. Which material we're gonna be using? Okay, let me just go back here. Which material are we going to be using? Are we going to use the raw materials or the finished goods? Which one?
Finished goods. The finished goods.
Exactly. This is what we're trying to actually measure the cost for. So I'm going to use here my finished goods. Okay. And here's going to ask you the most important thing. What is the costing variance? Costing variance, this is your math. This is actually put things together. It's the core configuration. It's simple. Yeah. Okay. You click enter and you click enter. Now it's going to calculate the stuff for you. Look, green is good. That's what we're looking for. Green cost estimate. Let me expand this one. I'm gonna drag it up so you can see. Look here. Okay, you have E means activity. You see here the activity 601, 6102, 6103. This is the activity and this is the cost for each one of them. 310, 200, 120, $600. Okay, and you come here. You see here. This is the raw materials. Okay. The doors and the engine and blah blah blah, and you can see them here individually if you wanted to see them individual. But now I'm looking at the entire cost of the product. You see here the cost for those materials, and here's what.
That is the additives.
Exactly. This is my additives, my freight. If you put the description, I could see the description here, but it's okay. It's okay, no problem. So here's your additive cost, which is about $2,500. I told you it's a lump sum amount, regardless of the price. So as you can see here, the total price of the product, cost of goods manufactured, $13,000. Okay, that's what the cost estimate is. But guess what? This is the itemization. Now we're lucky. We have only about maybe 4 or 6 different line items. In real world, you're gonna be having about 600 parts. I've seen a product. It does have 2 million parts. 2 million parts. It's an airplane. Okay, 2 million parts. There's no way we can look at it here. That's why we have to have the cost component view. This one here, the cost component view. You see like this? You guys, this sounds familiar? This is cost component 1, 10, cost component 20, cost component 30. That's why we build it. Okay, and it's gonna, based on your cost element, total price is still the same, but now we actually have it in different buckets. Okay, and you're gonna work with them how you guys want to see it. It's very critical for the business. Very critical. Very critical for the business. We're gonna work with them how you're gonna see your cost. You're gonna work with the CFO how you want to see the cost. Okay. Anyways, so if you have like a 2 million parts, it's not gonna show. It's not gonna show. You're gonna see some of them. Then it's gonna see dot. Then you just click into the cost component view, and you're gonna see how much is the cost in total. This we call the itemization. This you call the itemization view. Okay, this you call it the cost components view. Okay, anyways, once it's created, if it's green, you're good. If it's not green, you're gonna go investigate. Maybe you're missing the price in the raw material master data. Maybe you're missing the quantity in the overhead. In the bill of materials, or quantity in the rate routing. So usually I go to the itemization if it's available for me, and I'll see which cost is missing. Here I have 310, 120, blah blah blah. Which cost is missing? That's what helps me a lot. Anyways, you create the cost estimate. Make sure you save it. That's it. That's it. Your job is done. Saving it, and we said, what is the end result? Why do we need to do all this kind of work? Why? What is the end work?
Release.
The car material management master, it's update.
Yeah, the material master of the finished goods is supposed to be having that cost. So let me just go there. It's $13,000, and this is my material master. Let me just double click on it. It will drill down, and let me just go look at the accounting view where I have the price. Look here, the price is still $1. It's not yet updated. How are we gonna get it updated?
We have to go
to release first.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So I'm gonna do now the mark on release. I go CK24. Okay, CK24 to mark on release. CK24. CK24 to mark on release. CK24. Here is gonna ask what's your company code. I'm gonna say my company code B620, and it's gonna ask me what is my plant code. I'll say my plant code is B620. And it's gonna ask me what's your finished goods that I want to actually mark and release. I'm gonna get my finished goods right here, put it here, right here. Okay, before you actually do mark and release, you have to allow it for marking. You have to allow it for marking. So here we call it marking allowance. Okay, I click into marking allowance, and you have to look for your company code. Look for your company code. Where's my company code? I could actually kind of search for it as well. But here's my company code, B620, right here. It's red. That means it's not allowed for marking. Look here, this one is red. It's not allowed for marking. You need to double click that guy. Double click it. It's gonna ask you, you wanna mark it and release it for which costing variant? Then you have to say PPC1, PPC1. This is the costing variant that we've been using, okay? We've been using costing variant PPC1. So I'm gonna say, yeah, mark it for this costing variant and save. Just like this. Now you just marked, and every month you have to mark it to avoid moving the price unnecessarily. I marked it. Okay, I marked it. Up until now, if I go look at the material master, nothing happened. Okay, I didn't mark it. I just allowed for market. I'm just gonna look here, MM03. I just want to show you this one over and over again because I want to show you when the process is gonna be updated. Yeah, if I go here to the accounting one, B620. Here's my material. It's $1. Hasn't been done. Nothing happened. Yeah. I just allowed it for market. I'm still in the test run. So now all I need to do, execute, make sure it's green, and make sure it doesn't say 0 materials. Make sure it says at least 1 material has been marked. Okay, so now it's done successfully. That's good. So I go back, and it tells you what is the new price. The old price, it was $1. The future price is going to be 13,330. And I go back. It's not yet done. It's not yet done because I'm in the test run. I'm gonna uncheck that box, uncheck it, and do it in the real mode or the update run. Click it here. Okay. It says here green, and it says 1. That's wonderful. It's being marked. Let me just go back, and it tells you here. Look what it's saying. It tells you the standard price is 1. The future price is 13,000. And go back. Okay. And now let me just go look at the material master again. MM03. I'm gonna look at my material master. Let me just get to my material. I'm gonna look at the material master. I'm gonna look at accounting 1. I'm gonna look at the costing 2 as well. B620. I click enter. And look here. The standard price is not yet updated. It's still $1. I did mark successfully.
You haven't released it.
You haven't released it.
Still, yeah,
There you
still
go. I
planned.
haven't released it. Exactly. But if I go to costing 2, it tells me here future. The future has been updated. The future is going to be updated only when I do mark. So when I do mark, the future is going to be updated. Okay, that's exactly what happened. So when you do mark, future is going to be updated, but not the standard price yet. Okay, our end goal to see the standard price updated. So I'm going to go back right here, and I'm going to come back here, and I'll say I'm going to go now to the release. This screen, CK24, it does have the mark and release. So if you read the screen title, it's mark. If you click in this release button, it's going to take you to the release. Read the screen title. Mark, release. Mark, release. So I'm in the release now, and I'm going to do it in the test mode again. I'm going to do it in test mode, and I'm going to execute. Look here. Green is good. Here it says the number of materials is being priced. I'll go back, and it tells you the standard price is going to be updated to 13,000. The standard price, not the future, the standard price. I'm going to go back. Okay, and up until now hasn't been updated. It's test mode. I'm going to go and check that box, go to the real mode, update mode. And now I need to do it. Now is the moment of truth. It's green is good. Now I have number 1, material is being updated. It's good. And look, let's see what happened. The the price is being changed from $1 to $13,300. Let's just go back and pray God that it better change. So I'm gonna come here. I'm gonna go check again. MM03. Click enter. I'm gonna look into accounting 1, and I'm gonna look at the costing 2 as well. I'm gonna come here, B620, and go in and see that moment of truth. Voila. That's it. That's exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for this. If you do this, your job is done. That's what they're looking for. We want to see the price here. Once you see the price is good. So if you look, what happened to the future price? Look, future price is gone. Now the future price became current price. Okay, that's exactly the end goal. That's exactly what we need to do. This work, we call it the standard costing. Okay. Sometimes they call it the cost and roll, standard costing, cost estimate. And we're going to get into the terminology later on. Don't worry at all. But this is what they do every month. They do this. They create the cost estimate and they run it. And next month, these raw materials process changes. Okay, so with that moving average, the process changes all the time. Those raw materials, the process that changes, activity types, maybe it goes high and down, maybe more overhead which will be calculated. And then the price of the product is going to be changed with every market release. We do it every month. Some companies, old school companies, they do it once a year. Old school companies, but companies where they need that competitive advantage, which we're going to be talking in the strategy session, they do it every month. Anyway, so I hope that you guys kind of like get the lesson today. So that's almost everything. So I want to just pause for a second. I didn't hear Mohammed.
I said that was a mind-blowing.
Mind blowing? Okay. I hope in a good way.
Yeah, of course. It was
I have a
nice.
question.
The way that the end result.
Okay. Go ahead, Malika.
Now in the real life, as you said, buying, it's like million items or millions. So how do they categorize materials? So every single screwdriver, I mean screw
We'll talk
or
about that
a
one.
bolt, it's okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one. This is a big answer, but we'll talk about this one. And it depends on the industry. It depends on so many different factors. If you're in an industry where it's not regulated like airplanes, every single thing has to be, not only that. If you have two screws, they're exactly the same model. They're going to be having something we call a batch number. Okay, both of them the same material. There's going to be have a batch number. There's a batch number, and all of them are traced where they are actually being bought from, or where in which airplane they've been installed. It is massive. But
Oh
if you are
my
in a non-regulated industry, okay, for example, if making like computers or something, it's just less regulation into it. Okay, you can have 600 materials, the same material, same part number, and you can get by with it. You can get by with it. But we'll talk about this one later on. We're going to talk about this. Is a very strategic session, a very strategic question. Very good question though. Any other question, guys? We have 4 minutes. We have 4 minutes to go. Any other questions?
I don't have more questions about the cost component structure, but definitely after doing the practice, I'm gonna have a lot out of it.
It's okay. Yeah, for sure. You have to get your hands dirty. Seriously, you can stay here with me for 10 million hours. You're not gonna learn nothing until you do it in your hand. That's why milestone is very critical, very important. Finish your milestone. Really, fight with it. Really fight with it. Like what Akim did. Even though he got error message, he said, "Now what? I'm gonna create a new, and I'll just keep moving forward." I want you to just think about moving forward. Don't get stuck mentally with that error message. Keep moving forward. With that being said, guys, so this is the milestone for today. Make sure you have a cost estimate in your own company code in your materials, and you have a price that is being updated in your material master. Absolutely, absolutely clear. Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
This is structure is for expected cost, or it's a result of our productions.
No, this is only now the cost estimate. We're gonna study later on in the strategy how we get the actual cost. For example, now this car, it's only using it's using it's using 2 doors, 1 engines, and 4 tires. What happened if the guy who was trying to install the tires and he blew up one of the tires? Now he used actually 5 tires, technically, for this car. Then what we gonna do? At the we have to get the cost from production. We're gonna see production planning later on. We're gonna see the production. The production will actually feed us with the actual cost. For example, this car,
Live data.
exactly. This
Is that
now
what I
is,
mean?
yeah, $13,000. With the production it can be maybe $14,000. Then at the end of the month, we're gonna do some stuff we're gonna be talking about during the strategy. We're gonna do some various analysis, meaning the cost estimate versus the actual cost that it came from production. Yeah, and we're gonna see that. We're gonna see that. Or at least I'll talk about it. Maybe we're not gonna do everything in the system, but we'll definitely talk about it, and you're gonna own it. It's not, to be frank with you, unless you're production planning, you don't have to worry about it. But yeah. Anyways, very good question. Very good question. Any other question, guys?
So after all, I mean, when you complete this program, we're gonna end up by knowing how to get the price that would go to the market after the margin, the profit margin and
I didn't get that question, but if you're asking about what you kind of come off out of this program, this training, you're gonna get a job. That's the that's the results. I don't care about, seriously. All I care about get you stuff to get you a job. And usually we pivot. We actually kind of improve ourselves. We change ourselves. You Malik, he's gonna be different kind of personality with every job that you're gonna be actually applying to. Every gap, any gap. For example, if you go there and we'll know this job requires this kind of skill set, we're going to be individualizing this with those people who are in the market. We're going to just work with them, making sure you fit that gap. For example, if they're asking somebody with specific skills that maybe we haven't covered quite some, then we're going to talk about them. Sometimes stuff outside of, if they're asking for developers, say, screw you, man, we don't want to actually apply for that job. But if something that is related in a shape or form where we could actually kind of make you pivot to get it, that's exactly what the point is. However, what you're going to be, if you're asking about what you're going to be studying tomorrow you're going to be studying about profitability analysis, where you can see the margin on that same product. You want to see the margin, how much margin you're making. not only to the customer level, to the product level, to just to all that great details. We're going to be talking about it tomorrow. But as an overall, this program is just for you to get a job. Period. That's simple for me. For me, I just judge my success by the person who wants to get a job. Period. I don't care. All what you study here means nothing to you if you didn't just go and put it in action. Either if you're working today, that's good job for you. If you're working in SAP, that's a great job for you. Hopefully you go there and you make a great job. Okay, you make a better job than what you're doing today. But if you're not working in SAP, my success is once you actually get out of here, you get a job. Period.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I think Malik, if your question was what we did today is like cost estimate, then you now have the product cost, and then actually you do a profitability analysis. So that's looking at it from the full cycle.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyways, guys, any other questions or comments before we? Yeah, go ahead, Habibi.
Very quick question. Yes, we have SAP. What are the other main competitors?
SAP is number one.
Yeah.
Number two is Oracle.
Oracle.
Okay.
Okay. Number three is the Microsoft Dynamic, and it's losing its share right now. Microsoft Dynamic into three like other small parts, but MS400 it
Is
came
Oracle
out.
closed?
Kind of. It depends on the region. It depends on the region. In like outside of the US, yes, it's kind of close, but in the US, it's just not even there anymore. But in
No, I'm talking about the powerful, like the ability
oh yeah,
for controlling and that.
yeah. It's just ERP system. It is very close. It's very close. Same functionalities, similar functionalities. Anyways, it's 101, 102 right now. So I don't want to hold you because I have another meeting. Just literally, the meeting just got started 2 minutes ago. So if you have any burning questions, I can take them right now. But if it's not burning questions, we can wait until tomorrow. All right. Okay, guys. So once again, guys, really it's good talking to you guys, and it's just amazing. And I'm filled with gratitude with this weekend. I can't thank you enough. I can't thank you. I know it's a lot of work, but hang in there. You're almost at the top. So see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy, and look for you guys to work with you tomorrow. And hopefully all of you. I don't want to have any surprises. All of you, hopefully, God will, you get the milestones done. Okay. See you guys later.
Yeah.
God
Timing for tomorrow is
the regular timing,
right?
Yeah, regular timing, 6:30. 6:30 our time. Yeah.